Hello? Carol?
Yes, Ms. Donahoe?
Hi, Mrs.
Yes.
Donahoe, we can hear you.
Okay. I can't hear y'all. Does that matter?
Right now, nothing's happening. Can you hear me all right?
No, I can hear you, but I can't hear anything that's going on in the meeting.
Don't think it's started yet. This is Linda.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Hey, Ann, this is us at the office, making sure you can hear me.
Yes, Cammie, I can hear you. We should be starting soon, Mrs. Donahoe.
Okay, well, once we start, am I going to be able to hear such that I can answer roll and all that?
I can hear you, Cammie.
Lauren, see if you can get this on this computer for me, please. These are all the numbers and all, everything that they sent me. Where's the unmute? Oh, there it is. And I got on the computer. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. I'm glad
Okay.
you're able to get it to work.
Yeah, but I'm not being able to do the video. Let me try that.
We can see you, Lola. Well, we could.
Mr. Parliamentarian, you look very, very parliamentarian.
Oh,
The
well,
different beard, man.
well, it's a new year, fresh start. Got to clean up the act. Got to look the part, I guess.
Man, I tell you what, growing that beard must have been like the time frame of writing a dissertation.
And unfortunately, the dissertation took a whole lot more time than that. Appreciated the article, Mark, by the way. Thought you did a great job articulating the system's points of view over the time. Commendation for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. James, I read yours this morning. I tell you what, man, it looks exciting. Ready to go.
I haven't seen it, man. So all right. I got to take a look at that. I heard you did a great job, though.
Thank you. I wonder if we have enough online to get going.
I think we do, Mr. Romero.
Okay. Well, if everyone's ready at the system office, we'll go ahead and proceed. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Happy New Year. Look forward to handing this leadership responsibility off to a very competent oncoming board chairman, and look forward to working with him over the next 2 years while he leads us in some new areas. I'll call to order the first meeting of the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System for 2021. Cal, if you would, please call the roll.
Miss Olivia Bailey,
Here.
Mr. Barry Busada,
Here.
Mr. James Carter,
Here.
Dr. Jimmy Clark,
Here?
Dr. John Condos, Mr. Steve Davison,
Here.
Lola Donahoe,
Present.
Mr. Tom Kitchen,
Here.
Miss Mimi Methvin,
Here.
Mr. Al Perkins,
Here.
Miss Elizabeth Pierre,
Here.
Mr. Virgil Robinson, Mr. Mark Romero,
Here.
Miss Christine Russell,
Here.
Mr. Joe Salter, Mr. Brad Stevens.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Carol. Once again, we'll need a motion and a second to accept the certification that describes our authority to meet virtually today. If I could have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Donahoe,
Second.
second by Ms. Russell. Carol, if you would please call the roll.
Miss Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Busada, Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Dr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Davison,
Yes.
Ms. Donahoe,
Yes.
Mr. Kitchen,
Yes.
Ms. Methvin,
Yes.
Mr. Perkins,
Yes.
Ms. Pierre,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Mark Romero,
Yes.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you again, Carol. I would ask now if Ms. Pierre, if you could please lead us in today's invocation.
Yes. We bow our heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us to this place today. We thank you for the measure of health we have and the blessings you have already bestowed upon us. We ask your blessings on all our board members, including the newly appointed and reappointed board members, on the officers that will be installed at today's meeting, and on our board president and UL system staff. Please bless all of us with wisdom and discernment so that we may make decisions that will elevate our system and all of its member institutions. We ask this and all other blessings in your darling son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Liz. At our December meeting, the board elected 2021 officers with James Carter as chair, Liz Pierre as vice chair, and Mr. Carter then chose Mr. Jimmy Clark to serve as parliamentarian. Governor Edwards has since reappointed James Carter to the board, serving the 2nd Congressional District. So we'll ask that that he be administered the oath of office as a returning board member. Brandon DeQueer, our legal counsel, will administer the oaths this morning.
Hi, good morning. Mr. Carter, if you would raise your right hand and state after me. I, and state your name,
I, James Carter,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and Constitution and laws
of this state,
of this state,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
all the duties
incumbent on me as a member of the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System. according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding,
and understanding.
so help me God.
So help me God.
And then do you want me to proceed to the oath for chair as well?
If we could for vice chair and parliamentarian, and then we'll have oaths for our new board members after the introductions of the same.
And,
So chair and James, I don't know if you would like to, Brandon, you could complete installation of our officers.
Sure, I can proceed with the installation of the officers. Mr. Carter, if you would raise your right hand one more time. I, James Carter,
I, James Carter,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state, and I will faithfully
and
impartially
impartially
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as chairman of the Board of Supervisors
of the Board of Supervisors,
of the University of Louisiana System,
University of Louisiana System,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding, so help me God.
So help me God.
And then Miss Elizabeth Pierre,
Yes.
and this will be the oath for vice chair. I, Elizabeth Pierre,
I, Elizabeth Pierre,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of this state.
I will faithfully
I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as vice chairperson of the Board of Supervisors
of the Board of Supervisors
of the University of Louisiana System,
of the University of Louisiana System,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding,
so
so help me God.
So help me God.
And then I have next Dr. Jimmy Clark as parliamentarian.
Yes.
I, Dr. Jimmy Clark,
I, Dr. Jimmy Clark,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state,
of this state,
and I will faithfully
and
and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as parliamentarian of the Board of Supervisors
of the Board of Supervisors
of the University of Louisiana System,
the University of Louisiana System,
according to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you, Brandon. We're also excited to welcome 3 new board members who were appointed by Governor Edwards. Mr. George Barry Busada, Mr. Stephen Davison, and Mr. Bradley Stevens. Before each of you receive your oaths, I'd like to give a couple of introductory words at this time. Mr. Busada was appointed to serve the 4th Congressional District. He's been a lifelong resident of Shreveport and is the managing member of Linden Management LLC. Mr. Davidson, who was appointed to serve the 5th Congressional District, lives in Shudrint and is an attorney and special counsel to Genesis Energy, as well as a co-developer of Squire Creek Country Club. Mr. Stevens was appointed to serve the 1st Congressional District. He lives in Hammond and is an attorney with Edwards and Stevens Law Firm and an assistant district attorney for Tangipahoa Parish. If you would, Brandon, administer the oaths to the 3 new board members as a group.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll begin with Mr. Posada. I, and state your first name,
I, Barry Posada,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me as member of the Board of Supervisors
as a member of the Board of Supervisors
for the University of Louisiana System,
for the University of Louisiana System,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding, so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then you want me to move to the next one, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Davidson, Stephen Davidson. I, and state your first name and last name,
Steve Davidson,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of this state,
and
that I will faithfully
and
impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a member of the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System, according to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then leave Mr. Brad Stevens. I, and state your first name and last name,
I, Brad Stevens,
do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as member of the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System, according to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Brandon, and certainly welcome to each of you. I would love to give you an opportunity to make some remarks, if we could, starting with Mr. Busada, then going to Mr. Davis, and then Mr. Stevens. We appreciate you all taking a moment of privilege.
Well, thank you. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I'm always been very involved in education and interested in it, and look forward to working with you to improve education in this state and its accessibility. Thank you.
I'm the exact same way. Steve Davison. I graduated from Louisiana Tech and have lived in North Louisiana most of my life. And I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone on this committee and board, and hopefully helping do some good for our great universities here.
I will echo what Barry and Steve said. I'm very excited about serving on the board. I'm a Southeastern graduate, been involved at Southeastern for a number of years now, and I'm really excited about my involvement with this board because all 9 member institutions are very integral to not just the students that they educate, but the communities they serve as well. So I'm very excited, look forward to meeting you guys, hopefully in person soon, because I'm tired. I'm not sure about you guys, but I've had my fill of Zoom meetings in the last 9 or 10 months or so. So again, I'm very excited, look forward to meeting you guys soon.
Absolutely. Again, thank all of you and welcome again. I look forward to serving with each of you. I think we have a great board and really excited about you all being an addition to our board and know you're going to bring some good things to us. I want to also congratulate this year's slate of officers. I think we have an extraordinary team that's going to do some great things, and would ask if you have any words at this time, Mr. Carter.
I'm just very grateful and excited. You all have done such a great job, starting with the continuum of L and then yourself, and then the great leadership of the board. I'm excited about the new board members. I've had a chance to speak with each one of them already and look forward to having them heavily involved in areas that they find to be exciting in terms of the education of the students here in Louisiana, and bringing the great value from their various wonderful backgrounds that they have. And I'm very thankful. It's sort of bittersweet. I wish my dad was here to see this day. I lost him last year, at the end of last year. So not last year, year before that, but I'm very grateful and I look forward to it. It's going to be exciting times. I'm excited about the officers. I'm excited about what 2020 will be. It's going to be a lot better than 2021 is going to be a lot better than 2020. And so I look forward to it, and I'm very excited.
Yes.
Okay, I echo Mr. Carter's comments. I look forward to continuing to work with the board. I've learned so much under our previous leadership and continue to look forward to learning and helping to lead this board. I look forward to the guidance of our new chair, Mr. Carter, and just getting to know the new board members and getting to, just do some wonderful things for our university and our university system and our member universities.
Dr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I echo the sentiments of those who spoke previously. I'm certainly looking forward to working directly with Chairman Carter. He's been an extraordinary influence on me already. The past 2 years in general with the entire board has been exceptional. The capacity that this forum has allowed each one to participate, to I think be intricately involved is important. I think everybody brings a different mindset that, collectively we've really done some good things. Dr. Pierre is exceptional, and I also look forward to working with her. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the staff at the UL System Office that has provided so much support and knowledge. Today, I appreciated getting the new visualization data. We're continuing to be provided with an awful lot of information, and I just look forward to being able to really advance change amongst our system.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. And Now that my time as board chair has officially reached the sunset, I very candidly and happily hand off responsibility as board chair to Mr. Carter and look forward to his leadership. And he will preside over the remainder of the meeting, Mr. Carter.
Sound like you're a little bit too happy, man. Too happy.
Dr. Carter, may I have a point of privilege, please?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to welcome all the new board members. You guys are joining a excellent group of people, which you've already heard. I've had a chance to not speak with each one, but have a chance to do a little research on each one. And I can see that there's definitely been a enhancement of talent brought to the board, and look forward to all the talents that you guys are bringing. And of course, I'd be remiss not to celebrate the people who have already left the board, the 3 members that have left the board, and the talents that they deposited during their tenure here. However, I want to take a little time to, one, recognize our outgoing chairman, Romero, Mark Romero. Mr. Romero and I served together when I was chair and he was vice chair, and Dr. Carter was the parliamentarian. And we had Dr. Henderson serving as president. And at that point in time, we came together to say, we're going to try to move this system and not just be simply a rubber stamp system. And Mr. Romero, for a lot of you all who don't know, he is the one who approached me within only being on the board 2 or 3 months on the board about being chair. And I approached him right back and said, you need to be my vice chair then. And he reluctantly did it, but he took that job. He was a great vice chair for me, and he was even a better chairman. And when we reflect back and look at these past 2 years as chair, I mean, he had to go through a pandemic, president searches, budget cuts, at least 5 or 6 special sessions, all of those different things. And those of you all who know Mark know that his temperament remained the same during the time period. His mindset and how he approached things remained the same during the time period. And that gave us some steadiness as a board. And that, to me, showed a tremendous amount of leadership during that time period. And I'm thankful that we had a chair during these time periods, such as a pandemic and budget restraints, such as Mr. Romero, to lead us during that period in hand with the staff. The second thing, and the most, the second thing is I'm glad to see Liz Pierre as the vice chair. We remember a few years ago, Liz was being sworn as a new board member, then parliamentarian, and now the vice chair, and seeing her grow during that period has been tremendous. And also seeing all the talents that she has shared of hers with the board. But on today, the thing I want to celebrate the most is Dr. Carter being the chair. We are in for a treat, over these next 2 years. This is not just going to be, a regular 2 years. This is going to be a dynamic 2 years, because I know we have selected a dynamic leader and who has vision, who has the fight to get the vision done as well. And I'm proud to not only say Dr. Carter is our chair, but to also call him a friend and a brother during this time period. And I know for those of y'all who are new to the board, what you're going to learn about Dr. Carter very quickly is that he is one of the toughest but compassionate people that you're probably ever going to meet. When I say tough, meaning that he knows how to deal with issues, look at them, and call a spade for a spade. But he's compassionate and understanding what he needs to hear from people, what he needs to do in order to get things done. And I'm excited about seeing what the new officers and with the parliamentarian Clark coming in, and what are the things that are going to be done during this time period. And very excited. I mean, we've had several years now of continued elevation of this board. And I know that these next 2 years are going to be at an epic scale. And I'm excited for that. And I thank you, Dr. Carter, for giving me a point of privilege for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for such wonderful words, Al. And, we can't this continuum kind of started with you, though. So we appreciate your leadership in putting many of these things in place. And obviously Mark did such a wonderful job in his leadership that I I am certainly going to keep him very, very busy in 2021. He did such a great job. So thank you for that. And thank you for your leadership. It's been profound. So the next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the December 3rd, 2020 board meeting. Members were emailed the draft minutes from the last board meeting. We need a motion and a second to approve these minutes and a roll call.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call. Is that second?
Second.
All right, second. Roll call.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Busada?
Am I eligible to vote on this since I wasn't at the meeting?
Yes. Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Dr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Davison?
Yes.
Ms. Donahoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kitchen?
Yes.
Ms. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Pierre?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
And Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay. Before I make my report, we'll hear from President Henderson.
Thank you, Chair Carter. And before I begin the report formal, I would also like to add my welcome to the new members and my expression of gratitude to outgoing Chair Mark Romero. For those of you who don't know, in December, Supervisor Romero's daughter graduated from Louisiana Scholars College at Northwestern State. But at the ceremony, President Maggio bestowed upon Supervisor Romero the highest honor for non-alums of Northwestern State when he awarded Mark the Nth degree. And I wanted to congratulate him for that honor. It was so well deserved, and it was a great ceremony. I also want to thank Al Perkins. In December of 2016, at the meeting when Al was named the new board chair, and Mark Romero named vice chair, and James Carter came in as parliamentarian, was the meeting that I was hired as the system president. And so we, the three of us, the four of us together, have been on a journey that has enabled us to, I think, advance the system in ways that nobody expected. But we've also developed a great rapport and friendship. 2 years later, when Liz was added to the executive team as parliamentarian, she brought in a completely different perspective. And I look forward to the perspective from Jimmy Clark, who I've known for many, many years in many, many different relationships. And I'm so glad to have his experience as part of this executive team. And I mention that to you because this continuity of leadership is absolutely vital to a high-performing board. And yet it's the distinctions between the leaders that come in and play these new roles that can really advance us. It allows us to have fresh perspectives that we bring to the table. Supervisor Carter and I have been able to have many, many conversations, one collectively with the executive team as part of the board, but also outside of that, talking about issues that affect us as a state, as communities, certainly issues of global import. And he brings a perspective that is going to, I think, lay an indelible mark, not only on this board, but on our entire system and our member institutions for some time to come. And I'm just very, very excited about that. Also, for our new members, Supervisor Busada and I have known each other for many years. And I consider him a great friend, and I know many of his family members, especially probably the jewel of the family, Ashley Busada, who has worked with NLEP and Bossier Chamber of Commerce and has been a longtime friend. Steve Davison is no stranger at all. A graduate of Louisiana Tech. We've met at many tech functions. Of course, his father, James Davidson, is perhaps the pinnacle of tech supporters and a bulldog through and through. Was a classmate of my mother's at Tech, so we have deep roots as well. And Brad Stevens, while we haven't met in person, your reputation precedes you. And Dr. Crane from Southeastern who knows you quite well, and I had a great conversation. And he amplified all of the great things we have heard about your ability to ask questions, your ability to help find solutions. And I so look forward to having your voice as part of our board as well. Governor Edwards, over the last now 6 years, or 5 years, I guess, has blessed our board with some remarkable appointees. And my dad, who was a longtime, very successful basketball coach, said that players make the coach. Members make the board. Having engaged members, bringing their unique perspectives towards some collaborative objectives is the secret of high-performing boards. And our board continues to evolve and advance, and I'm excited about the prospects for our work. Now, to official business, we have some personnel actions and Carol emailed you 2 personnel actions for system office staff. One is for Katie Barris, and this is not a happy one. She headed up Compete LA very aptly. She accepted a position in the area of student conduct with the University of Texas at Austin. And we asked if she could still live in Baton Rouge and do our work and do that role as well. She decided she could not. So her personnel action is one of the actions for approval. But secondly, Katie Dawson. Katie has served as a director for UL Monroe Online. She has stepped into a position that Ms. Barris vacated. Katie's been involved in system initiatives such as Compete Louisiana and Bridging the Divide Summer Series. In fact, she led the Bridging the Divide Summer Series that was, I think, just a showcase of what professional development can do to prepare faculty to adapt to new environments. She's also the co-chair for the Digital Equity and Inclusion Task Force. We welcome Katie as she joins the UL System staff as the Assistant Vice President for Academic Innovation and Learning. And her personnel action is also on your list for approval. And Mr. Chairman, we will need a motion and a second to approve those 2 actions.
We got a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, move the second.
Liz.
We need a roll call?
Yes, sir.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Busada?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Dr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Davison?
Yes.
Donahoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kitchen?
Yes.
Ms. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Pierre?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, some updates. COVID-19, as the cases continue to surge across our state, our universities continue to plan, evaluate their plans, reevaluate their plans, ensuring that we provide the safest environments possible in the midst of this pandemic. Our system guidelines, which take a phased approach, remain in place, and you've seen those presented ad nauseum. They continue to be refined. We met just yesterday with the presidents to discuss the return for this spring. The approaches are going to vary among our member institutions, reflective of the variance in the characteristics of the students and faculty that they serve. But each is taking a very aggressive approach that matches the unique needs of its university community. Spring will look very similar to the fall practically. The mask, the social distance, the significant increase in hybrid and online classrooms, those will all remain. The major difference we'll see moving into the spring semester is an increased opportunity for testing and tracing, and of course, the deployment of the vaccine. Our system has already been approved and has already distributed more than 100,000 rapid tests, the Bionex Now test from Louisiana Department of Health. They'll be used to test faculty, staff, students, and especially those that live on our campuses. This is the antigen test that is easily administered and gives you your results within 15 minutes, which makes it the prospect for doing contact tracing and further diagnostic work and treatment and for those that are test positive much more efficacious. And as the vaccines become available, our member institutions will increase awareness and importance of the vaccines and also add capacity to deliver those vaccines. Our allied health students, our faculty and staff, and our students that will be involved in student teaching have been included in phase 1B and should begin receiving vaccines very shortly. We'll continue to work with LDH by providing information on our capacity to assist in their efforts in both messaging and distribution. And we hope to add the whole of our university communities to the priority list very, very soon. The next 90 days are going to be telling in our fight against this pandemic. I'm very proud of the resilience and the adaptability showcased by our faculty and our students over this fall semester. But we have to be diligent going forward. The advance of the vaccine is a game changer. But as we've seen, the logistics of distributing the vaccine are challenging. Time is of the essence, and we look forward to being partners in that. We also look with great enthusiasm toward fall of 2021, when we should see summer return to normalcy. Shifting gears to some student highlights. Last month, when Chair Carter was appointed, he gave us some ideas of some things he wanted us to focus on at our meetings, and I thought they were extraordinary. I think that they advanced some work that we have underway and allow us to demonstrate that work in some compelling ways. One of those ideas was to highlight students at our board meetings. Today is a short meeting, and we recognize, it's with that in mind, we're excited to recognize two of our outstanding students who are just coming back from break. First is a young lady who just graduated from UL Lafayette after re-enrolling with the help of our Compete Louisiana program. And we want to show this video to you real quickly, and I hope you'll enjoy Tequila Babin's story.
Kind of goes back when I was younger, where I initially went. My dad and my mom, just growing up in the culture that they grew up in, education kind of took a back seat. It was more so like survival, work in order to take care of the family. My dad really instilled a love of education early into me, and he would drive me around campus, through the campus, and he was like, one day, you can go here. And so from elementary up until high school, when I filled out my application, I knew I wanted to come here. And so I was on the road to my dream, and suddenly a divorce that was really hard, and I found out I was pregnant and had to withdraw. I had some complications from that, and so unfortunately I had to leave. I was in Lee Hall, and I had to fill out the paperwork to drop my classes. And walking out, like, it was kind of like the enemy was just, you're a failure. This wasn't for you. Nobody's in your family ever did this. How could you think that you could do it? You're going to be a statistic. And so by the time I made it to my car, I was beat up. I was crying. And God was really deep in my faith then, and God promised me that he would bring me back to that moment. And so 10 years later, the opportunity came up, and I chose to come back to the university because this is where I started, and I knew that this is where I wanted to finish. One day, my husband was out running errands, and he had heard an advertisement for Compete LA on the radio station. And so he called me up, and he was like, hey, I know we've been kind of talking about it. Maybe you should check it out. So I reached out, and I was hooked up with the coach, Brandy. She kind of got the ball rolling from there, and I didn't really have to do much after that. She called me back up, and she had went over my transcript and told me I needed like 7 classes. And so I was like, what? I knew I was close to finishing, but I wasn't sure at that point that these credits were even gonna stick because they're over a decade old. My coach at Compete LA was really very personable. I felt like she was doing it for her, like how somebody would put forth effort if it was them. I felt like she really wanted me to succeed, and she really wanted me, to finish. And just having that support after being out so long and just that positive interaction, it made a world of difference because I felt like I had somebody on my team. Well, my husband, through my experience, he reached out to Compete LA as well. He went to Northwestern for a stint. He's been in the oil field since he was 19, and he wanted to get back into school for engineering. And so he reached out to them, and we just found out that Compete LA now has this new program called Compete LA Academy, which serves as a bridge. They can take classes through that program in order to get into the university of their choice. I brought my daughter on campus to pick up my cap and gown. When I withdrew, I was actually 3 months pregnant with her, so that was like huge for me. And my dad used to drive me through campus. I was able to walk with her on campus. And so just to show her that, this can be done, I think is really big for my family. And so I hope that her seeing me walk across that stage and accomplish this, that it'll be a motivation to her as well.
So that's Tequila Babin, and that's probably the 5th time I've seen the video, and you have to get composed every time. We first recognized Tequila as a system based on a social media post. When she was on campus picking up her cap and gown with her 11-year-old daughter, it said this is the first time she'd been on campus since that daughter was in her womb. And it was just such a compelling picture. We hope that very soon we'll be in a disposition where we can have Ms. Babin meet you in person, and we'll make that happen because you'll love to not just hear more of her story, but just to learn more about this incredible Louisiana. The second student we want to highlight for you today is a UNO student. And I had a great joy of visiting with her this summer. She's been part of our experience. It's not just in the classroom, as you well know. A lot of the collegiate experience is providing a forum for students to explore their passions and to get active about things that matter to them. And Julian Romero is currently the SJ president at UNO, and she is a great example of this. She's a senior majoring in political science and pre-law. She has a minor in sociology. She made it a priority to engage her fellow students during the Black Lives Matter movement this summer. We have a video to introduce her efforts, and we're going to invite Ms. Romero to talk a little bit about her experience.
Project community. Students at the University of New Orleans are spending this week making sure uncomfortable conversations about race and police brutality continues. Take a look here. 144 signs sit in front of the University Center right now. Each sign has a different name on it, like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all 144 of whom are victims of police brutality from just this year. SGA's president said she is happy these signs are leading her peers to continue this conversation and stand up against injustice.
Black people are killed at such an alarming rate by police. So taking those numbers and, putting it on the lawn, makes you sit back and, think of all of these people who didn't have time to fight for themselves. And that's what those signs are. Those signs are our way to fight for them when they can't be here.
And there will be a week of events at UNO, all in observance of National Anti-Police Brutality Week.
Ms. Romero, welcome to the Board of Supervisors of UL System. Why don't you say a few words to our board?
Thank you. Thank you all for letting me come and talk about this. So over the summer, we wrote a resolution in SGA to condemn issues on our campus that were revolving around Black Lives Matter, specifically to make our Black and brown students feel more comfortable on our campus, right? And this was during the summer. So these signs that we just saw in the video were from October. And between the time George Floyd got murdered to October, no one had been talking about Black Lives Matter anymore. It kind of died down, I guess you could say. And I made it the initiative for SGA and our school to really bring these conversations back to life and have these conversations at our school, and to make sure that we had a healthy place to talk about these things and make sure that we can be a part progressively, I guess you could say, in the efforts to end these issues and to make sure, like I said, our Black and brown students feel safe on campus. So that's what we did.
Julian, thank you so much for sharing that. Folks, regardless of your belief systems or your ideologies, our institutions are bastions for expression. And when students take the initiative and become champions of ideas, that's healthy for all of us. And Julian, I want to applaud you for that. You might tell from her voice that she's not a native New Orleanian. In fact, I don't think she's any relation, but she probably lives not more than 1.5 miles from Mark Romero. But the names are merely a coincidence. But Julian, we thank you for your leadership and being an example for students.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Romero. What a great contribution to society. Thank you so much.
Another priority that Chair Carter highlighted for our board was the need for students to broaden their experiences outside of the state of Louisiana. Our students benefit greatly from observing new cultures and having diverse experiences. Last March 1st, I was happy to have joined our team, a former colleague of mine from Northwestern State, as our executive vice president, Marcus Jones. But he also has an extraordinary track record of developing these types of experiences for students. I want to invite Marcus to provide some information on our efforts to improve our students' cultural competency. Marcus.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chairman Carter, Dr. Henderson, new members and returning members. As the system continues its work to better articulate the core competencies that are developed and are enhanced by the attainment of a college degree to its various stakeholders, we believe that study abroad programs catalyze the development of core competencies that have both individual and societal level benefits. Studies consistently show evidence that studying abroad is linked to personal development traits such as agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness, which greatly contribute to graduates' quality of life. Graduates with study abroad experience also develop core competencies that go well beyond individual level benefits. Study abroad experience is directly linked to enhanced creativity, reduced intergroup bias, and the promotion of career success, which are all critical skills that ensure that graduates are ready for the future of work. ULS institutions have done a good job in promoting study abroad programs for its students. The following is a snapshot of the study abroad programs at our 9 institutions. Across the UL system, there are approximately 110 active international exchange agreements. Those agreements afford our students the opportunity to study abroad in over 30 countries. In any given year, pre-COVID, for instance, in any of the pre-COVID years, ULS institutions had over 500 students, both incoming and outgoing, participating in study abroad experiences. Additionally, approximately 25 faculty members would participate as either guides or visiting lecturers at host institutions. Students have the opportunity to stay for as little as a few days or weeks, or for a semester or a year, depending on their desire and their schedule. In addition to these direct agreements with international institutions, most of our institutions actively participate in the International Student Exchange Program, or you may have heard it referred to as ISEP, which offers our students the ability to select from over 160 international institutions in over 50 different countries. As you can imagine, the primary challenge faced by our students is cost. At a minimum, students are faced with having to spend on the low end a minimum of either $2,000 to $3,000 to participate in a study abroad program. Additionally, many of our students would like to participate in international student exchanges, but work or family obligations prevent them from being able to do so. And then finally, depending on the country, our students may face the issue of language barriers that prevent them from being able to participate in the international exchange experience since the language of instruction may not be in English. Given these challenges, our institutions have done a great job in creatively supporting students wishing to take part in the study abroad experience. Several institutions have created study abroad scholarships and have engaged in concerted efforts to appeal to underrepresented groups such as members of the LGBTQ community or first generation students, etc. Several institutions have made grants available through SGA or departments which provide travel stipends for study abroad. And additionally, some financial aid may be available to help offset some of the costs of international travel. Student loans, and for instance, sometimes can be used to help offset those costs. Finally, our institutions have been strategic in establishing MOUs with international institutions where the language of instruction is in English and where students are exempt from paying tuition at the host institution. Now, I'd like to speak on a personal level about an experience that I had. I participated in an international exchange program while in undergrad at Northwestern. Through the ICEP program, which I mentioned a few minutes ago, I spent a year studying in Plymouth, England at the University of Plymouth. As a shy young man from Winfield, Louisiana, getting on a plane for the first time, this international experience changed me forever. I honestly do not think that I would be where I am today professionally had I not participated in that international exchange. It forced me out of my shell and set me on an entirely different path. Now, while working at Northwestern, I was fortunate enough to see the same transformation take place in other students who came from similar backgrounds as myself. Students such as Ethan Stelly, an NSU design student who had never been on a plane before. Through assistance from NSU's Student Government Association, Ethan had the opportunity to travel to Havana, Cuba on a short stay exchange and work with design students at Havana's Institute of Design. Ethan came back an entirely different person. He was more confident and more creative. I'm reminded of another student named Madison Watts. Madison had the opportunity to travel to Angers, France, with several other NSU students. Madison is from Saline, Louisiana. And if you don't know much about Saline, it's a tiny town in Bienville Parish, population about 258. Much like Ethan, she had not traveled much outside her community of Saline. Through this experience, she had the opportunity to conduct and present research jointly with students from about 10 different countries, from different countries in Europe and Asia. And I frequently talk with Madison, and she still talks about how this experience changed her. All of our institutions have Madisons or Ethans who have benefited greatly from the international experience, but it's not only our domestic students who benefit. The international students we host also receive and provide so much value to our institutions. There's a relatively large population of Colombian students in the Creative and Performing Arts Department at Northwestern. It is partly due to their presence that NSU has seen a huge uptick in students desiring to go abroad. The interaction between our domestic students and our international students, whether on one of our 9 campuses or at one of our international partner institutions, has the potential to promote so much growth in and career success for both groups of students. In closing, I would like to say that our institutions have done a great job of establishing MOUs with international institutions, but cost still remains a significant barrier for many of our students. At the system level, we're committed to continuing to explore avenues to help reduce the financial burden that studying abroad places on students and to continue to increase the number of international partners we have. We definitely see the value of international experience in improving cultural competency for incoming and outgoing students and faculty.
Marcus, I appreciate that very much. We also have, an opportunity when you think about some of the global institutions, some of the most renowned institutions of learning exist internationally. Chair Carter, just a couple of years ago, got to speak at Oxford College, which is when you talk about schools that we have schools that have 130, 140 year histories. You talk about schools that were founded in the middle 16th century. That's deep. And so we were going to explore opportunities to develop partnerships with some of the most renowned institutions around the globe, in addition to partnerships with institutions in places that may be off the beaten path. Marcus has already reached out to the nation of Uruguay in South America, building on some of the relationships we've already developed there. I've worked with King Abdulazad University in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And if you want a cultural shock, take someone from Winfield, Louisiana, and put them in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and see the different experiences. It's a wonderful tool for us to develop what we think is one of the most important skills for the 21st century, and that's cultural competence. I remember fondly a student from Shongaloo who came to a university campus, and I happened to meet them in a lobby. They wanted to go to a room that was going to be upstairs, and so we took the elevator. As the door to the elevator opened, she kind of stepped back for a minute, and I said, "What's the matter? You don't like enclosed spaces?" And she says, "No, I've never been on an elevator before." That seems hard for some of us to imagine, but that is the limited experience for so many of our students. And I think it's such an incredible return on investment for us to find ways to expand their horizons. And Chair Carter, I appreciate you bringing this initiative to the forefront. We're going to make it a priority systemically. I saw Jimmy Clark had a question or comment. Yes, sir.
Both. Actually, the comment is I wanted to commend Chairman Carter for elevating this notion of providing exposure and ultimately experience for our students is exceptional. I wanted to ask the question to Marcus, though. You mentioned the 580 students, and again, this is pre-COVID. I understand that COVID has certainly disrupted things, but I'm curious if we have the ability to understand a little bit more about those 580. In other words, how many were Pell eligible, what institutions they came from, and or where they went to. I just think to inform us a little bit more down the road, or to let us think through how maybe we can really impact or affect or who we should be, it would be helpful. Particularly since you elevated this notion of cost, which I totally get and understand, how we can think through maybe ways to expose those who historically maybe might be underrepresented, or maybe they're not. Maybe that's just a perception I have, and so the data would help me.
And I can work on getting that data, but I can tell you that a large portion of those students participated in the summer program at UNO. And so several hundred students actually participated in that summer program. So that's where the majority of the 500 participated in that particular program.
Okay, great. So anything more you can provide, our staff can provide, would be great.
And Supervisor Clark, we intend to dig into this deeper, look at socioeconomic backgrounds, look at demographic backgrounds, ensuring that we're seeing advances, especially for those students from underserved populations, those from rural populations, those that can most benefit from this work. Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, thank you for bringing that forward. We also have, he brought up some ideas around development of individual board members through some certification programs. As you know, we've sent most of our new presidents to the Harvard IEM program at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, which is an extraordinary program. We've been looking for a similar type program for board members, not mandatory, but certainly one that would be worth your time and help you advance as a board member. Unfortunately, there's not one that really exists, not at least in our application. We've already reached out to the Association of Governing Boards, who has taken this on, and Janine Kahn is helping us lead that. We're going to continue to find some development opportunities because I think it's absolutely vital for you as board members to not just to see what we do as a board, but to understand best practice from experts who have worked and helped develop high performing boards and board members. Supervisor Carter will have some more information on that at the February meeting. That's okay with you.
Yeah, Dr. Clark, could you share a little bit of your preliminary research on this matter?
Sure, not much. I would concur with President Henderson that the existence of a specific program tied to an institution of stature that might meet specific, expectations of this board does not necessarily exist. That said, I do think it's worthwhile to reach out directly to Bridget Terry Long at Harvard. I know that there are ways that they can coordinate or form classes, and maybe we can figure out what it is specifically that as a board we would benefit from and have her devise an opportunity for us to engage in. So that would be my next recommendation, and we'll certainly continue to do that if that's something you think is worthwhile.
Yeah. That's great. I actually had already emailed James Hogan at Harvard with a very similar idea, but that's wonderful. And I'll follow up with you on that as well.
Great.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Folks, really lastly for me, other than an announcement, is just a comment on what we all witnessed yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, I referenced Benjamin Franklin when he left the Constitutional Convention of 1787, and he was asked, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy? And his reply was, a republic, if you can keep it. Yesterday, we saw an attack on the republic. And there's been a lot of commentary about that. I want to talk a little bit about what we as a system can do. It was this last August, I got a text from one of our presidents. He talked about the street corner in front of his house, the president's residence on his campus. At that street corner, over the last 24 hours, he had seen student athletes and allies marching against injustice. He'd seen another demonstration by pro-life proponents. They were gathering to pray the rosary. He had a pro-law enforcement demonstration in the afternoon, and then an evening, an NAACP rally. All in the same street corner, all in front of his house, all were peaceful. And he ended his text with just a little line. He said, America, gotta love it. One of the things that makes us strong is the ability for us to differ with each other. And it was Chief Justice Robert Jackson in the 40s who wrote an opinion. He said, freedom to differ is not limited to things that do not matter much. That would be a mere shadow of freedom. The test of its substance is the right to differ as to things that touch the heart of the existing order. Our universities have long been the forum for the expression of ideas. In the classroom, those ideas are developed, they're informed, they're challenged, they're refined. On our grounds, those ideas are expressed, sometimes in pretty jarring fashion, often inartfully, but almost always it's done peacefully. From my view, the insurrection we saw play out on television and social media yesterday was reprehensible, and I think it will live in infamy. In Democracy in America, de Tocqueville talked about how sentiments and ideas renew themselves. The heart is enlarged and the human mind is developed only by the reciprocal action of men upon one another. But he cautioned that in democratic countries like ours, only the social power is naturally in a state to act like this. But it's easy to see that those actions can be dangerous. Now, that was nearly 2 centuries before the advent of social media, an advance that connects us globally in ways that he could never have envisioned. But we've seen how it can be exploited by nefarious actors to spread disinformation and sow the seeds of discord. In my view, our institutions have a key role to play. We have a responsibility to develop critical thinkers, learners, and citizens prepared to peacefully engage and differ in public discourse, essential to the health, advancement, and survival of our republic. We take that role seriously. It's part of the core capabilities that we seek to develop in our students and our graduates. I believe we need to be more purposeful in that work. And I look forward to engaging with this board and our university communities to advance that work. Apologize for being on a soapbox, but I think that these are the issues of import that we must discuss and discuss openly and candidly. The one announcement is about our UL System Conference, and of course, the disposition of our global pandemic prevents us from, I think, responsibly gathering as 500 members in a single location. So we're going to have a virtual conference, but it's going to be a virtual conference that will be, I think, one that exceeds any reasonable expectation of what a virtual conference can be. I want you to mark your calendars for March 18th and 19th for our future conference. It'll be every bit as worthwhile as years past. We look forward to you all being available for these 2 days to the extent you can. I realize you're busy, that you have personal lives, professional lives. I remember when Christine Russell was considering accepting an appointment to our board, she asked through President Clune to ask me what are the requirements of board members, how much time would it take? And I said, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours a month. And so she accepted before she realized I might have been a little conservative in my estimation. I realize your time is valuable, but I think that those 2 days, the amount of time you can spend with us will be worth your while. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you for your commentary on the state of affairs in this country right now. So I think it was right on point and right on time. I thought part of my comments were going to be in the section of the board chair's report. And I wanted to take this time to thank the governor for his reappointment and showing the confidence in me to reappoint me to the board, and his tremendous leadership, not only in educational issues, but the entire state of Louisiana is grateful and blessed to have him as the governor of Louisiana. So I wanted to thank him for his great work. I'm in the process of finalizing the standing committee assignments, and I've spoken to many of you, but I'll be speaking to some more of you prior to the next board meeting. We'll have those committee assignments done. Additionally, our next regular board meeting will be Thursday, February 25th at 11 a.m. For the foreseeable future, our meetings will be virtual. So you can consider that as you make your plans to participate. Other business or adjournment. If there's any further business to come before the board at this time, anybody? Any further business to come before the board at this time? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Get a second?
A second. Liz Pierre, second.
All right. So done. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.